guys, so it's time for my WIP update where I show you everything I worked on in January last month. I also have a tiny little bit of haul, just 3 patterns I think, from an older Stitching Bits and Bobs haul, but order, not haul. This is the haul from that order. I'll show that first because it's 3 things and I'll just get it out of the way. Firstly though, I got a really lovely package last month from Kayla, and I just wanted to share a couple of things that were in it. I hope that's okay, Kayla. I didn't ask you that. She sent me this adorable ornament with a little ginger cat on it. This is the Winter Holiday Collection Cat in the Box. So perfect because you know that I have a ginger cat and I just stitched an ornament last Christmas and made the gray cat a ginger cat. So this little ginger cat makes me so happy, and I'm gonna put him upstairs for next year when I stitch my next, no, this year, it's January, it's February, oh my god. I'm gonna put him upstairs so that I can stitch him this Christmas for my mom to hang on her little ornament tree. She also sent me a snag nabbit. I have one. I just thought about this a couple months ago when I was ordering something else, and I totally forgot to throw this in my cart, and so I'm so happy that I have one. This is something that I think I'm gonna use a lot. If you're unfamiliar, Tracy was the first person that turned me on to this. I didn't know these existed. It's like a little textured, it looks like a thicker textured needle. And if you have, like for instance, if you're stitching with 2 strands and you pull your stitch through and then you realize that you have like one strand that's a little looser than the other strand, you have a little like bubble, you can use this to like push it through the hole and it will pull that loose thread back to the back of your work, so you don't have to do anything to it. Amazing. So thank you, Kayla, for these things. So I placed an order from Stitching Bits and Bobs last year for a few patterns and some Christmas stuff, and then the Christmas stuff got so back ordered that I just ended up canceling that, and then the rest of my order came, which was just these 3 patterns. So the first one I got, I will take it out of the sleeve, is from Designs from Pamela, and it's called The Beauty of Your Dreams. I think this must have been on sale. That's the reason why I would have purchased it. So it says, there's space for your initials, and it says, "The future belongs to those who believe in the beauty of their dreams," which is an Eleanor Roosevelt quote. This was a surprise. I forgot that I ordered this until it showed up. Yeah, I know Stitching Bits and Bobs always has some crazy, like, deep discounted patterns, and I'm sure this was probably one of them. This next pattern I got, I know was a deeply discounted pattern because I have been eyeing up this pattern since I first started ordering from Stitching Bits and Bobs. So like for several orders now, but it has always been intimidating. It's a Victoria sampler pattern and it's called Gold. It's Gifts to the Magi #2, and it looks like this. And so like I said, this pattern was really deeply discounted, but I was afraid of it because I know that Victoria sampler usually uses a lot of like really fancy, expensive specialty threads, and so I was thinking, sure, I love this pattern, but what if I get it and then all of the parts to make it are super expensive? But it got to the point where I just liked it so much and I was so afraid that it was going to disappear that I just bought it. So it is a little like chest of gold, and it's all made up of gold beads and gold metallic, and it's just so pretty. And it has all of the specialty stuff on the back. So now that I have it, I can actually look at what's in it, and you know what? It's not so bad. It's, there's some weird like bicone style things that might be tricky to find, and then there's this charm. There's actually like a brass lock on here. That's like an actual charm. Yeah, I don't know if I'm going to be able to find that, but everything else is just Mill Hill and 2 DMC flosses, 1 anchor floss, but it's just a gold, so I'm sure you could use whatever you wanted, and then some Krennic. So Krennic 102, I have that one. Gold braid, white gold braid, crimson braid, which is the top, I think. And then one of those Japan gold metallics, which if you're like me and you've looked through the Krennic options because you're in love with Krennic, they have a lot of like Japan gold. So anyways, I don't know what it is. I don't know if it would be different to use than anything else, but my point is that this pattern was very inexpensive and I think it is so beautiful. And then when I got it, I learned that all of the like materials are not so expensive, which is a relief. The last thing I got is a drawn thread pattern, and I have to stop purchasing drawn thread patterns. I have a whole folder of them, and it's gotten to the point where I have to bring the folder out to remember which ones I have and which ones I don't, and I've never stitched any of them, so you guys. But I bought the perennial border, which has some really beautiful like white, I don't know if it's actually white work, all white stitching in the middle, and then the border are these beautiful colorful flowers. So that's the perennial border. That is my tiny little bit of haul that I just decided to jam into this update because it didn't seem like enough to put on its own. And if I wait to have more haul and make a bigger haul, then I'm just buying things, and I don't want to do that either. So for WIPs this month, I worked on 4 projects. I finished one. I have a finish. But kind of a disappointing WIP update month. I got really sick in January, like the sickest I've ever been in my adult life. And so I just ended up stitching a lot on certain projects because that was all I wanted to do and all I had the energy for. So I'll show you Angel of Love first because I totally forgot I stitched on Angel of Love at all in January until I was editing my vlog, and I was like, oh, I did a little bit on that. So I will show you that. Angel of Love by Lavender and Lace. Which side is the top? So I put in a lot of her skirt. So I got all the way down to the very bottom of the kind of beaded section of her skirt. There's border section around this of like her cloak that I haven't even touched, and I'm not going to touch until I put in the rest of the skirt. So this is like roughly half of the patterned beaded portion of her skirt. I love this project. This is still really fun to work on. So my finish from January was my August Parido Fairy by Mirabilia. This is what she looks like. I'll do a separate finished video on her, obviously, which is what I usually do. So satisfying. I've like taken all the things out of this folder. It's just the finished piece. I love it. Put all the beads back. So nice. So, oh yeah. This project, I think, I already have a video up on my channel of attaching the treasures. You can watch that here. No, here. Let's do up here where I'm pointing. You can watch that here if you want. This project is the most difficult beading I've done so far. And I think it's because so much of the beads are in blank areas that aren't stitched. Like for most of this, you're not just filling in holes. You're like, I don't know. I had some counting issues. So this is August Parido Fairy. All done. So she has like a lot of beads outside of her and I could not get some of them to match up. Like I think it was this one, did not end up in the right spot where I was supposed to down here, so I kind of had to fudge that. I think it was because I was stitching with, I beaded with one strand of DMC 712, I think, just the cream color that matches this fabric. And I ran into some counting problems. Like I would miscount like the thread, and then I would end up in a weird spot and I had to take a bunch of it out. Yeah, I had a hard time with this beading. It looks really pretty though. The only thing I'm not super sold on are these like really red beads up in her headpiece. I'll show all that in the finished video. I just think it's an interesting color choice, which I've thought before about Mirabilia's. I remember when I stitched red, I thought some of those beads were like a weird color. but it's clearly just my color sensibility. So I did decide to start a new Mirabilia. I chose Lily of the Woods. It looks like this. She is very pretty. She has a lot of beads. This thing is like jammed full of beads. Something I realized about beading, I put off beading August Parido Fairy for like 3 months. I had it in my head that it would be really horrible, and it wasn't the most fun. I mean, just because I did have some trouble counting where the beads were supposed to go, but it took me like 2 days to bead, like when I really sat down and did it. So I think I just have a misconception of beading. I think it's not as bad as I think it is. So Lily of the Woods. This is what I stitched of her. Let me see if I can. This is an 18 by 27 piece of fabric, which is far too big. 18 is good. Like 18 will give me 2 inches on each side, which I know is not very much, but I have no plans to frame any Mirabilia that I do. I just don't think I would like any one of them enough to frame, and they're so big and it would be so expensive. So I don't have any plans to frame any of these. So I'm okay with only having a couple inches on each side. Man, awkward. This is awkward though. So this is what I put in. It's like her skirt. It's just a big old bunch of skirt. I really like these colors though. I really love this fabric. This is 32 count dark cobblestone Lugana. I talk about this in my vlog, how much I like this color. Yeah, I really like this one. This was so easy to stitch, kind of brainless, and that's why I stitched it for the majority of the time that I was sick, because I just couldn't get motivated to like pull something else out. So I ended up working on this for a lot of the month, and I did briefly worry that I was going to have like a solid Mirabilia month, and that would be really boring to some people. So I decided to pull out for these last few days Quaker game board, which can probably get upgraded to like an actual nice folder now that I have one free from August Parido Fairy. So Quaker game board I haven't worked on in quite a while. It looks like this. I am stitching this 1/1 on 28 count lamb's wool Jobelin. And I got quite a bit in this last month. Actually, I put in this full page. So I just have 2 more pages and then I'm done. I also put in a little bit more of this gray just because I had cut too much of it, and then I didn't want to worry about like keeping it somewhere and remembering it for the next time I work on this. So I just decided to use up that gray until it was gone. So I'm into the personalization part. Up in here I put 2016. This next one I have an idea for that I will talk about in a second. And then the next one after that, under this like blue one, will be my initials. So I'll show you again the pattern. So, which is going to be really hard to see because it's white. It's white on cream. So in the pattern they have the year, where I have the year. And then in the next space they have something, I can't tell what it's supposed to be. It looks like VH and then TA or TO, but lowercase. I don't know what that is at all. And then the next one is the initials. So there's this one space in there that I don't know what to do with. Some people have put like their location in there, like their state, the short form of their state. But I've decided, and I'm pretty excited about this actually, what I'm gonna do in that spot, and I think I'm gonna leave it until the very end. I already put the little border in. I'm gonna put a maple leaf in there. So I guess I just have to count out the space I have and find some charted maple leaf, or maybe chart my own. So mine will be 2016 and then there'll be a maple leaf, and then it'll be my initials. So I like that. I like that more than a location, because I don't know where I'm gonna end up whenever I decide to look at this. So I thought a maple leaf would be like a nice symbol that would look clear. Like I didn't want to like clutter up. It's a pretty small little space. So I'm gonna put a maple leaf in there. I'm excited about that. So that is all for my WIP update this last month, January. I feel like I still have like sick brain. You guys, like for instance right now, I can't remember if I usually upload my vlog first or my WIP update first. I think it's vlog first. So if you want to watch my vlog for January, that will give you a little bit more information on my stitching from last month, but not much because last month's vlog was kind of rough just because of how sick I was. For plans for February, I have today off, and it's going to be my last day off for like a while, like at least a week. So I think I'm going to work on the chatelaine today because I can give my full attention to it today. I've talked about before how I have difficulty stitching that one in like a time constraint. So if I come home from my main job and then I have like an hour before I have to go to my second job, I can't just work on that chatelaine for a little bit. It takes too much, too much to set up and too much energy. And so I'm gonna work on it today. And then unfortunately, I don't think I'll be able to stitch really until Sunday. Today is Monday, until next Sunday, just because of my work schedule. So I'm gonna try and get like one day in on the chatelaine today, and then we'll see. And I can't decide if I should like push through and try to finish Quaker game board, or if I should go back to peacock pinwheels. I don't know. It's all up in the air. I gotta finish something else though, because I still have 6 WIPs, and that is too many WIPs for me. My mom asked me the other day what I was working on, and I couldn't think of the 6th one, which was Angel of Love. I could only think of 5, which is a sign that I have too many. That's the sign for me. So that's it for January. Thank you so much for watching this video. Please let me know what you worked on in January. Did you get sick? Everyone's sick. Did you get it? Thank you guys, and I will see you in the next one. Bye.